Welcome to the HMO Property Show by investors for investors. Brought to you by the HMO Property Co, Australia's leaders in impact investing. Investments made with the intention to generate a measurable, beneficial social or environmental impact alongside a positive financial return. Catch us weekly as we discuss all things cash flow positive property investing.
First up from episode 7, we have Scott Townsend, a buyer's agent and new build consultant.
If you had $250k cash available and you could service a $900,000 purchase price, what would you buy and why? And where?
Yeah, I wouldn't ever stretch myself up to my maximum. I would always want to keep buffer there for. I don't just want to buy one property. I want to make one property purchase move me to my next one. So I'd probably keep that borrowing capacity or bring it in somewhere around about the maybe 500k mark. Then I know what I've got left in the bank there. If I had 250k, you could look at something like a middle ring established suburb. Go in with maybe an 85% loan to value ratio. You're going to put a pretty small deposit in and do your renovation. You're probably going to be left with still some borrowing capacity of about 400k. By the time you've done the property, you're going to have that cash flow as well. So that 400k might jump up to a new borrowing capacity of 500k, and then in 12 months' time or so, you might be able to go again. So I'd probably look for something in the middle ring. Buying around about the 500 to 550k mark, and getting the renovation done and get that tenanted and go from there.
Get the tenant in, get the cash flow coming.
That's right. Yeah, as soon as you've got that, and as soon as you can show that record of the cash flow coming in, opens you up to refinancing or sort of future purchases.
Next from episode 23, we have Kleppe, the owner and managing director of Great Property.
If you had $1 million to invest now, how would you invest it?
I would invest it into NDIS housing.
Yep.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yep. Which one would you go for?
I would probably spread my portfolio around between SDA house and SDA apartment, and probably one or two non-SDA houses for NDIS housing. Because 93% of the people don't get SDA funding.
Really? Wow. So
What
happens with them?
Well, exactly. What does happen with them? We think about half of them probably don't need it because their network will look after them, but the other half need something. So that is another product that's going to be getting a bit more airplay soon. Doesn't yield quite as well. It's cheaper to build though, less compliance at the moment. At the moment, we'll see what happens with that. So again, we've sort of applied our hierarchy of importance in that one, and we've come up with a design and are delivering what we call sill housing now. That is, for all intent and purpose, almost improved livability SDA housing. Yeah.
And what's the sort of floor plan that you're laying out there for that one? Is that a 2x1 again? Or?
No, it's actually a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom where every bedroom has access to a bathroom. So semi-en-suites. It's more of a group housing type of formula. And within the house as well, there will be a operational centre for the sill provider, so they can be 24/7 care if they need it.
Yep.
But wide doorways, wide passageways, easy access into bathrooms and showers and so forth. Quite big floor plans. Not quite the same funding challenges that you get with SDA, but it's a good product.
Next up is from episode 24, Bianca Sandri, director at Urbanista Town Planning.
If you had $1 million to invest now, what would you be investing in and why?
A holiday.
Some time off, recharge the batteries.
No, okay. So if I had $1 million, what would I invest in? HMO.
Would you really?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Because ultimately, being able to build houses like that, I have a real passion for intergenerational living. And I feel that HMO properties have the ability to be intergenerational and also service the market when that's not needed for people who need accommodation. and it's not. We don't have, our planning framework doesn't allow us to have that expressly. So, it is certainly, something to consider. I mean, my partner would say something completely different, something commercial minded or.
Next is from episode 25, Joe Macri, CEO and founder at Rise Up Property.
What would you do with $1 million in cash today? What would you invest it in?
Well, mate, my money is in projects at the moment. So right now, I'm doing 17 townies in Loganholme. I'm doing 3 townies in Werribee, and I'm doing a 1 into 2 in Croydon. They're both in Victoria. Loganholme's in Queensland. So I'm looking for sites. Okay, so mate, I'm 45. I consider myself young. All right, so I know what I said earlier. We're just playing around, but I'm young. I do Muay Thai 3-4 times a week. I can move. Mate, if I had $1 million in cash right now, straight into projects.
Yeah. Straight
into projects. Because, mate, there's no other way you're going to get that multiple on your money. Okay, so I love what you do. I love the HMO strategy. For me, definitely a great strategy to use if you have that money where you want to, get that cash flow. Mate. So, put it there, put it someone with like you, an expert, get the cash flow. Definitely important. So for me, like where I'm at, I want to build up my equity. So that's where I'm at. So the cash flow thing, I've got that covered as well. So when you have, both covered, that's when you become unstoppable, mate.
Yes.
So $1 million straight into projects. Honestly, I'm looking for my 4th project at the moment, but mate, that's what I do with it.
Beautiful.
100%.
Next is from episode 26, Dieter Wagner, Managing Director at Alert First Fire Safety.
If you had $1 million to invest, what would you invest in and why?
If I had $1 million to invest, I was only talking to my partner Sue about this recently. Look, I reckon $1 million, I would actually go to Western Australia and probably build either a duplex or a DFV type property for women trying to get away from domestic and family violence.
Yep.
I think it'd be something like that, Neil. But definitely Western Australia, because I see a lot of growth over your side.
Next up is from episode 28. We have Fab Marion, the director and advisor from Fab Marion Advisory.
If you had $1 million to invest, what would you invest it in?
I would obviously do a subdivision. I would do a subdivision when I manufacture more growth into it by the renovating, converting that into a rooming house. Yep. And having some cash flow coming from that, and using that cash flow to leverage to be able to do another one on the back.
Fantastic. I love that strategy.
Next from episode 29, we have Matt Garmony, licensed valuer and managing director at Garmony Property Consultants.
And if you had $1 million to invest, what would you invest in and why?
Well, look, if you're investing in property, you're either going to look at your rental return or capital growth. I think the market's probably getting towards the upper end of the market in the residential side of things. I think it's sort of getting close to that in the industrial market. So you're probably not going to get a great deal of capital growth in the short to medium term. So I'd probably push more on the rental return side of things. And as I said, if you look at the NDIS and you're getting between 9 and 10% return, that's pretty healthy.
Cash flow is king.
Cash flow is king.
Cash flow is king.
Next from episode 30, we have Joe Gibb, owner and licensee at J&G Property Group and the co-founder of the HMO Property Co.
Well, I normally finish on this question, which I haven't really prepped you for, but if you had $1 million to invest, Joanna, what would you invest it in and why?
Oh, that might be showing what I'm going to do in the future. Just moving on with helping more people. So I just want to be able to give happy homes to people that deserve it. So definitely would just put it back in this space, whether it is a HMO or something a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Next from episode 34 is Bradley Beer, CEO of BMD Tax Depreciation.
If you had $1 million to invest today, what state would you invest in, and what specifically would you invest in?
I haven't really been. I've just had a few days off. I wasn't thinking about investing in property right now. So I guess the answer is I've got finance ready through my property investing, especially in the later years, whenever. And I'm probably there to buy when the market hurts, not when it's flying.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Saying that, we've had that. We had COVID. I was busy trying to organise a business with a couple of hundred staff, as opposed to going and buying property if I actually followed my own advice right there. And where would I buy? I think, New South Wales is fairly cooked at the moment, so I'd need to see some hurt. I've got property across the eastern states and have been confident in all of them, but I'm not. I wait for a bit of hurt before I do. And there's the property clock. There's all those things. I'm always looking for a bargain, so I'm probably buying more in areas that I understand, I suppose, often. Yeah. So where would I buy right now? I don't know. I'd wait for New South Wales. I know WA's had plenty of hurt for a period of time and has probably seen some signs of recovery, so it's probably not bad. Have I bought something there at the moment? No. But I just haven't, I just haven't had the time, I suppose. It's one of the issues.
Next up, we have an UGG boot investor from episode 35.
If you had $1 million to invest right now, what would you be investing in and why?
If I had $1 million right now, I don't have a family home, so I'd probably buy a family home outright, which would reduce my ongoing expenses, increase my savings, and then allow me to continue investing in multifamily positive cash flow dwellings, which is what you guys are doing. If I had my family home right now, I would split that up 4 parts using maybe like 25% of each one, so 250 grand on each property, keeping the LVR rates a little bit lower, because just to reduce the risk exposure. Like if you had $1 million, why would you want to throw it away? Why would you want to take on the extra risk? So
next up is from episode 36, Matthew White, the owner of Rooming House.
Last question, Matt. I don't think I prompted you on this one, but and I kind of know the answer, but if you had $1 million to invest today, what would you invest in and why?
That's a good question. Tell me this. Is it $1 million in loan or $1 million in cash?
It's cash.
Cash. Okay, so $1 million in cash. Right now, I'd buy 2 rooming houses, 2 6-bedroom rooming houses. I would invest in them and I'll put $500K in each one of them, have them sow cash flow, and that cash flow is going to just keep pumping into those 2 assets and setting them up the way that we're doing them. In 10 years' time, or even less, 7 years' time, I would have 2 cash flow assets creating me about $3,000 to $4,000 a week.
Worth $2 million, yeah. So you've doubled your money and created a heap of cash flow.
Yeah. And I got all this cash flow, and I'm done. I'm retired. I'm off. See ya.
I'll be back in 2 weeks because I get bored too easy.
Totally. That's it.
And finally, we have Julie Angsley, Property Renovator at Renovating Made Easy from episode 40.
If you had $1 million to invest right now, what would you invest in and why?
Well, some of the other renovators out there might not like my answer because I'm giving away all our secrets, but I really love Kwinana.
Yep.
So it's still really affordable. You can buy cheap properties in there because a lot of them are, the timber floors, the oldest style. They look terrible because they haven't been upkept for years, but they don't take that much to clean up either and look amazing because of those the Jarrah floorboards.
Hot when you polish them up, don't they?
Yeah, And I love that there's a lot of work in the Kwinana Strip. It's close by to the Rockingham foreshore, which is really awesome. It's just funny that people think Rockingham isn't a great place until they go there.
The foreshore is incredible.
Yeah,
now.
it is.
Yeah,
it's
really
lovely.
nice.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you tune in the same time next week so you stay up to date with all the cash flow positive property updates.